All right, we're live, babe.
Yay.
How you guys doing? It's the Honeydew Carpenter and the always beautiful Mrs. Honeydew Carpenter. And this is our Saturday morning live show. It's fittingly entitled Creating Something New, because that's exactly what we have been working on. I want to tell you a little bit about what we have been doing this week and some of the blessings that have just kind of poured our way. We had a gentleman locally here, just in a town about 50 miles south of us, reach out to us. His name is Steve, and he's in his mid 70s. Just an amazing guy. And he is an inventor and just loves building stuff, and has spent his retirement years out purchasing things for different ideas that he's had for auctions. And he just had this huge boneyard, and he reached out to us and said, I think I might have some things you might like and need. And boy, did he ever. And I mean, we just are feeling so blessed to be able to just kind of manifest some of these things to help us with our aircrete endeavors into our life. One of the things is a reverse articulating paddle mixer that paddles in like this. I think he got it in an auction. It's in pieces. It needs rebuilt, but the structure is there, and I am just over the moon, super excited about it. It is an actual one that I think was for commercial lightweight concretes, but the paddles actually have wiper blades on them, so it wipes the outside edge of both barrels as they come together. And he also gave us another one that is a hopper. I think it was originally for papercrete or something like that, and it has a reduction gear motor on it and a paddle auger that kind of moves it along as it mixes it, and it's an incredible piece of equipment too. I'm going to have to do a segment called Make an Aircrete Like a Boss or something, because it is just incredible. Guys, creating something new is the topic I wanted to talk about today. And this is why. I love inventing. I love inventing. And I know there's thousands and tons of other people out there. If you could just mentally raise your hands if you've ever had an aha moment or an idea that you thought, oh man, I should develop and do that and whatnot. And then, mentally raise your hand, and please chime in if you're one of those who actually went ahead and did it and made it come to fruition. Because the statistics are daunting. It's like 99.7% of ideas never come to fruition. And there's tons of people out there who've had them, who've even started and even gone and got part of the equipment and stuff. I think there's thousands of boneyards just like that one we went to all over the United States, that people with a dream or something, if they were just willing to just go for it and start, even though things aren't perfect, and reach out to people, all the things that they would need to make it come to fruition, it would just manifest into their life somehow, right?
Right.
And so we're just really grateful for Steve. And I heard a saying on YouTube University this past week, and they said, if you want to go to a place where you can find all the best abundance of all the greatest ideas in the world, they said go visit a cemetery, because most people go with their ideas and their song and everything just left in them. And so that has a lot to do with creating something new. So first, before I get to what it is that we're creating that's new, I want to talk about just 5 things that you might want to consider when you're looking at inventing. Inventing is just part of the human condition. It is just in our DNA. All it means is there's a problem and we create a way of solving it. And that's it. That's all an invention is. Oh.
See all of his notes.
Babe, I didn't want them to know I was doing notes. I thought they should know that I'm just, this is winging it. No, I did. I wrote down a few notes. But, you know, the first thing to consider if you're looking at creating something or doing something new with Aircrete, or a new way of mixing it and pumping it and moving it through a continuous system, anything like that. Anything that you want to invent. I don't care if it's something having to do with pottery or, you know, getting syrup out of trees, whatever floats your boat, you know. There's some things that you'd need to consider. One is the problem worth finding a solution to? Number two is, do I have time to focus on it? Because I have a ton of ideas, and I really need to put them in a funnel and narrow it down to the ones that are most relevant to where, and I think a lot of people out there are the exact same way. Number three is the solution practical? Is it practical to make, or can it be simplified and put into a DIY, some assembly required type of a situation? That's a big one to consider. Here is one of the biggest ones, and that's why I named this Creating New, is who and how many people will benefit from the invention. So you've got to do your research and find out the answer to these questions. And the fifth one is, you know, can I afford all the research and development that it takes to make a prototype come to fruition? And it's because of all of you guys out there that we were even able to even come close to doing that. Through our Kickstarter, we were able to raise $16,000, which allowed us to invest several $1,000s into websites and several thousand into, you know, this shop and whatnot. And so it's a huge thing to consider, is, you know, whether you can afford the research and development and the prototype. And I would say the next one that's most important is the third one, or the fourth one, you know, who and how many people will it, and that is, will it benefit? And that is something that has weighed heavily on my mind, just simply because as I go through this process and as I'm making Aircrete this whole past year and a half, and I'm reaching out to people and I'm trying to develop mix designs and whatnot, a lot of the elements of our mix designs were ideas that came from viewers and other people. And so I guess what I'm talking about is the problem with being an inventor. Most of it is a thinking thing, right? We've all had those aha moments, but there's a huge thing. I guess God doesn't like selfish people, right? And I think too many people have habitual selfish ways of thinking, and they're like, oh man, how can I do this and become a millionaire, or whatever, and they're thinking about themselves, and that's fine. But I think the number one problem is that way of thinking. Is you've got to understand one is too small of a number to accomplish anything great. And so I am creating something new. I'm putting together on our insiders only website club and whatnot a system right now, so that we can, as a think tank and as a community of people that come together to choose a problem to solve, put them all in a funnel and narrow it down and say, okay, we're going to solve this problem as a community. And then all the different elements of that, where we reach out to people who have specialized knowledge in different engineering fields or in just whatever their specialty is, and they weigh in and they contribute into this think tank, that they get some kind of a credit for it. And another one of the problems that I thought about was creating a system to help all participants monetize the creation creating a system where everyone benefits and creating an easily duplicated system. And what I mean by that is, who's seen the movie The Lion King? You know, Hakuna Matata, the circle of life they talk about. The circle of life, what it really is a circle of influence. And I think that people like me, who are blessed with people like Dana and Steve and all these older gentlemen with these boneyards and these ideas that they've had that have reached out to us and helped us along the way, I just think that there are thousands of people out there like that who have had ideas and they've even gotten started, but they haven't come to fruition. But they would like to have a place to go where they could contribute and put their ideas into effect, so to speak. And so what I'm trying to create is a system on my website where, you know, we have thousands of dollars invested in our websites. We have 4 of them right now. We have the honeydew-carpenter-shop.com. We have Honeydew websites. We have Best Way websites, web development systems. And then we have...
I think that's Best Easy.
Oh, yeah, Best Easy websites. And, yeah, that's 4 of them. And so what I would like to do is offer like a special offers section in our members only deal where people can go in and there will be a website building tool for them with all the tools necessary to have them be able to have well, they would have tutorial videos every step of the way. They could build themselves a website, or they could just have the web developer do it for a couple $100 or something. Just a simple website that they could promote the URL for. Once we bring a product to fruition and start producing it and selling it, that people who have these websites, they can send out the URLs, and any leads that come through their websites, they would get a percentage of the profits for it. And I think what that'll do eventually, as it grows, it will allow other people with other ideas in other genres of thinking to get together and create even more stuff, and then have their own product that they can produce and sell, kind of like an Etsy situation where it's a home, and they can move them through other people that have helped them in their affiliates. So you have the Honeydew Carpenter, and I have, say, 100 subscribers on my page that contributed to a project, and those that wish to participate and try and move this out to market got their website and their URL so that they can get paid a percentage on it and get some money on it. And I don't even think I would compete with them on it. I would want to give the credit away for the whole think tank that came together to bring these things to light, because there's just we feel so blessed. There's just been tons of gentlemen out there that have weighed in and helped us move this far. And what I would like to do is, on the back side of this thing, see other people's build their websites up and their search engine optimization in the areas of interest that they have some great ideas in, and then create another little pod of influence, and then give the same opportunity to all those people to create their own and see how it spreads. And so that's what I'm working on right now, guys. Let's check some messages.
All right, Jim Wood says good morning. So good morning, Jim. Mike says hello, everyone. William Craig says good morning with a smiley face and thumbs up. Good morning, William Craig. You are one of the great men out there that helps us an amazing amount too, so thank you. Terry Oaks says hello. Alan Ingalls says good morning. Peter says hello, guys. David says hello, my movie stars. Hello, David. It's always awesome hearing from you. Terry Oaks says good morning from Alaska.
Oh, I think he bought a phone mate. I think he lives in North Pole, Alaska. My boys are so excited.
Not that Terry.
Oh.
I think you're getting two people confused. He does live in Alaska.
I might be. Well, anyways, we sold a phone mate up in North Pole, Alaska.
Right, which is awesome.
I have been there, and I know they have a Santa Claus house.
Hey,
it's a kind of a tourist. And my boys are just over the moon excited that they're sending a phone mate up to North Pole, Alaska.
Mark Miller says good morning from Washington State. Beaver Creek Farm Life says good morning. Well, good morning. Shoddy Scratch says good afternoon from
Vermont.
Yeah, sorry. Honeydoers. Mario says good morning. Tubular Guy 9 says hey from Lower Bama HDC. Well, hello back. Ken Nielsen, you are awesome. Thank you for that $10 donation. And I see a skill saw blade clock that is behind on the time.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Yep. Is it behind?
Yeah, it's 10:20 instead of 9:20.
Oh, yeah. Well, daylight savings time. All the digital stuff has made me lazy because it does it on its own.
Mike Frederick says, having trouble with the video. Oh no. I hope everything's going good for most everyone. I hope it gets cleared up, Mike. Greg says, good morning to you, too. Well, good morning. William Craig says, I'm the type of guy who goes to the hardware store, looks at an item and says, self, what can it really do with this thing? I just caught the camera as it was about to fall because my kitty. You guys? Well, that's awesome, William Craig, that you go to the hardware store and you can do that. That's awesome. And he says he really dislikes autocorrect. Right? I think a lot of people do sometimes. Blue Healer says, good morning, guys. And Chris says, morning from the UK. Well, awesome. Good morning. William Craig says, streams of knowledge connect the pools. Yes. Right?
Yeah.
And that is...
That's kind of what I'm attempting to do. And it's a lot more work that allow people to go in, get percentage off of my products in my Etsy store, but also create a website for themselves where they can sell their stuff as well, or if they're a participant in bringing one of our projects to fruition and we sell stuff from it, that they would get a percentage of it. I basically want to create a synergistic system where it's win-win and everybody wins. And so, yeah.
All right, so Beaver Creek Farms Live says, what is the date of HDC University?
It's the
third week.
The third week
in August.
In August.
I forget the actual dates. I think it's like the 25th. I will have to look at a calendar and get back to you. Andrew Sherwood says, great video. Morning, everyone. Well, thank you, Andrew. Tubular Guy 9 says, Lower Alabama, guys. Jeez. Yes. I know. I think...
Oh, he lives in Delta Junction.
I think Tubular Guy 9, I think he has to, like, correct us every single time he puts Alabama on there, which is kind of funny, actually. Keep it up, Tubular, and we'll keep messing it up. Terry Oak says, I did buy a phone mate, but I live in Delta Junction, Alaska. Yeah. I also am attending the first HDC University. Well, yes, him and his boys, I believe, are coming.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So we did sell another flight to Alaska, and Alaska Dar was super excited, and he was
Well, I've sold about 7 or 8 up there, but never one to North Pole.
right.
And I've been there several times. I used to go dip net fishing. I lived on Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks. And every year I would go all the way to where the highway ends, down a dirt road for miles and miles to the Chitina River and go dip net fishing. And you'd have to go by North Pole to get there. And so it's just a place I've been, and I know there's a big Santa Claus house there and a big red candy stripe pole, and it's a tourist place. But my boys were really excited to send one up to Santa Claus's house.
Have you been to Delta Junction?
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And Jeff is back from Alaska and getting ready to buy some studs and build an outhouse this weekend. We'll have fun
cool.
with that. And Shoddy Scratch says, are you still planning to get your rocket stove core certified for in-home use so that insurance companies and banks won't be concerned about their installation in homes? I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. There's a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to those things, because the way they write the ASTMs and the UL codes and the testing methods that they use to do it, they really don't have testing methods set up right now to do those. So it falls within a masonry stove situation. And I read it, and I used to read those things for a living, guys, because I ran a soils laboratory, and so I was constantly reading ASTM, so I understand the engineering jargon in them a little bit. And I really feel like under the masonry section, I think it's like ASTM 1302 or something like that, that it would pass with flying colors. So I would like to eventually get it certified, yeah.
So we are still planning on that, yes. Jeff says, can you guys message me panel mix? I need it bad.
Oh.
And Tubular Guy 9 says, one of my brothers is the chief of police in Palmer, Alaska. It is beautiful up there. Hey, kitty, quick, jump in my
Now both of them are in here.
I know, right?
Crazy cat.
So
woman.
Tubular has a brother that is a chief of police in Palmer, Alaska.
In Palmer. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Right, and I think that is all of them.
I have a brother that's the chief of police in Fruitland, Idaho.
That's awesome. And that is all of our questions right now. So is there anything else you wanted to go over?
No, we're in at 23 minutes right now. I kind of wanted to keep it short because we have a lot of work to do. We actually loaded a bunch of that equipment up on a trailer, and we need to get it off. And so it's, man, that trailer. I just looked at it this morning and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. Not just to get it off, but to get the stuff rebuilt and order the bearings and get them in, and new seals and everything that it needs. And I'm going to modify it because it was all driven with a huge electric motor that ran a hydraulic pump, and it was hydraulic motors that ran all the stuff. And I'm going to do probably a gear reduction electric motor on it. So
So we have a lot of fun and a lot of more experimenting coming.
A lot of engineering and problem solving to do.
Carl Weimer says, good morning from Canada.
Oh,
well,
good
morning. Freddie McIntyre says, you guys are just so cute and obviously love each other.
Oh.
Smiley face. It's really nice to see. Thumbs up. Thank you. That is very sweet and a very amazing compliment. And thanks for the thumbs up. Everyone give us a thumbs up. Brian Kerwick says, tell people to click. Yes, Brian. That is a very good point. Can you guys all hit the like button and the bell so that you can get notifications when we go live and everything? And yeah, give us a like and thumbs up, you guys.
And subscribe. We've been so busy, guys. I'm gonna get some edited videos out, some of the back to basics on aircrete and mix designs and the different ingredients that I put in and why and what they do. because I've been going through my questions on YouTube, and I've just been getting swamped with thousands of questions. And so I'm going to pick the top 5 categories that people are asking me questions in, and I'm going to do a back to basics video so that people who are maybe new to the channel or whatnot can understand what is aircrete. Now that's another thing. We're going to have a lot of different blog and article content on our Insiders Only. I mean, one of them is, you know, inventors, how-to, 7 ways of thinking for successful inventions and solving problems. Aircrete, what is it? What can it be used for? Aircrete mixes, the ingredients and why. And then lots of different wisdom about family life from Mrs. Honeydew, because
William Craig, you really are an amazing guy, and you help us out a ton too. So thank you for the $25 donation for the dream.
Thank you. And it is a dream.
Yes, it is. Brian says, click the like button, guys. Yes, hit the thumbs up, the like button for us. Edie Grey Wolf says, hi, guys. Ray Park says, thumbs up. Little Bits of Heaven Homestead. Aw, good morning. I just wrapped up a video on Dirt Patch Heaven's Facebook page. Excited to see you and make it to your show here. Love. Aw,
oh, cool.
That's so awesome. I always like to go back and watch them a lot of times after when I get a chance. So that's awesome that you guys just did one. You guys should check out Dirt Patch Heaven's shows too. And Little Bits of Heaven Homestead has a YouTube channel now, you guys. And she does some amazing stuff on it. And makes really amazing soap that looks just so yummy that you could eat it. It's awesome.
Don't eat soap.
Yeah, but don't eat soap. Greg says, heading to an Aircrete Dome workshop soon. Looking forward to getting my hands wet. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So yeah, have fun at that workshop.
I can't wait until we build our first dome, and I feel comfortable enough to do a workshop.
Right.
On building a dome. Right now, for me, I think it would just be a matter of going through my drawings and my engineering, making the forms, start pouring them, and then coming up with the processes to move it around and to build the entire dome. And then I would probably feel a lot more comfortable being an instructor of sorts after I built my own and worked through some of the problems that was in it.
Right.
And I'm sure by that time I'll have a lot of people that were weighed in and help me bring that project to fruition, and we'll have some co-instructors on different elements of it as well.
And Beaver Creek Farm Life just put our link to our website up there. So if you guys are interested, go check that out and check out our webpage. And thank you, Beaver Creek. Brian says, do you know about Dominguez's work with Aircrete?
Yeah. He is actually, we watched one of his videos, and that is, if you take like my foam make machine that I invented, that's why I invented it. Mrs. Honeydew goes, you have to build me one of these domes.
He's the where our dream became alive, is watching him.
It is.
So yes.
It truly is. And I had no idea how I was going to get the equipment to make Aircrete. I didn't have the money in our budget. I was driving truck delivering frozen pizzas, and we just didn't have the money in the budget to buy even the little dragon, let alone any of the bending tools and stuff necessary to do it. And so I invented my own foam mate. The first one I ever made cost me about, I think, $25 to make, because I'm a tinker and I just had little bits of hose and some different types of valves and stuff. And so all I had to really buy was the PVC parts. And I just put one together, and then all of a sudden I found out that a lot of people had a great deal of interest in it. And that's, you know, I was talking about the 5 things to consider, and when you think about it, that's one of the main ones, is like, is the problem worth solving? I was like, okay, I have to build a foam machine. And I thought it was worth solving because Mrs. Honeydew tells people I can do anything, and she said she wanted it, and so it was worth it for me. Do I have time to focus? Yeah, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal and that I could just do it on my own time after work, and I was able to. It took me, what, maybe 2 or 3 weeks to figure it out. The first foam mate I ever tried, I put on the end of an air, like a paint gun, you know, where you pull the trigger and it runs air and paint through it, and I put a tube on that with the that didn't work at all. And I put the solution in the canister that you screw on the end of the paint gun.
But I knew you'd figure it out.
Yeah, but I mean, and that was just part of the process of going through and figuring it out. And, you know, is the solution practical to make? Well, it wasn't originally, and then I went ahead and downloaded some commercial foam makers and whatnot and looked at the schematics and how where the pumps were and the high pressure pumps and this and that, and where the foam solution flowed in versus the air, and how they got it to come to fruition. And I was like, well, if I eliminate that, and that's how I invented the regulator bulb that goes on the back of it. And so it's just, it was something that I did, and I brought it down to be practical. I brought it down to where you could buy a PDF and you could go out and buy this stuff and build it yourself if you had the inclination. And obviously I build them for people too. I send them all over the world. But so I took something that was complicated and made it simple and practical. And then, you know, how many people will benefit from it? Well, I found out after I invented it, that's our first video that ever went viral, that there was a great deal of interest, and I was like, whoa, there might be something to this. And, you know, can I afford it, and the R&D and the prototype cost? Obviously, I'm a tinker, so I was able to come up with the 25 bucks, but...
Right.
Okay.
And you did amazing. So Jeremy says, hello from NC, thumbs up.
All right,
hello.
North Carolina.
Tubular Guy 9 says, you guys are the best. Best wishes always for all of your endeavors. Aw, thank you, Tubular Guy 9. You're so awesome.
That's so awesome.
Little Bit to Heaven's Homestead says, I adore you guys. Thank you. Aw. Tubular Guy 9 says, hey, Kath, right? Little Bit to Homestead says, hello, Tubular Guy 9. TK Dawes says, Aircrete bricks, should I put a fibers?
A fibers. You know, one of the things that Steve gave us was a bucket of fibers, and they're a particular type of fiber.
PVA.
PVA. So they're polyvinyl alcohol fibers. And I did some research on them, and they're supposed to increase the strength of a cement that they're in by a minimum of 300%. So that's one of the videos that'll be coming very, very, very soon, because I want to make some blocks out of this PVA fiber and just see what it does. He also had some other additives, some wollastonite, which is a kind of a fibrous material that can be mixed into cement, and another one, I forget the name of it, but
we have some exciting
we have some cool different mixes coming out, and some tests coming out on different mixes. So I haven't done fibers yet, but I highly recommend it, and I'm going to try it and give you guys the results.
Tubular Guy 9 says that I watched Dirt Patch Heaven a while ago about the house. I think they got it.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I'm excited about them. They did get a house, and they were signing on it, and it ran into a little bit of trouble with the title. But
yeah,
it's still moving forward, and we're super excited for them.
They're going to have a new homestead with some new property.
Yes, we're super excited. Kenneth says, what do you think about a chain link fence as rebar and 2 feet wide panels to make a raised garden bed? I have across used bent wire from fallen trees.
I think that would work fabulous. In fact, we just so happen to have in that barn by our by our shop 3 rolls of that. I just may have to try that, baby. We have 3 rolls of that chain link fence.
Great idea, Kenneth. Morris says hi. Well, hello. Robin says, hey guys, I'm glad to see you live. I love your shows and can't wait to make aircrete. Robin says, aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. And when you make aircrete, start with something small, like a small flower bed, to learn how to use, because there's always a creative work to it and process and learning. Just like the first time making a new recipe in the oven, you want to experiment a little. Gregory says, is aircrete okay to use on a 2nd story flooring laid over beams? You guys are great.
Okay, I've seen it done that way. Lightweight aerated concrete laid as a flooring in 2nd stories. They actually use it all the time in high rises because it eliminates a great deal of the weight. But the way they do it is they put the beams down and then they run a thin corrugated sheet steel down. And when I mean corrugated, you know, it's shaped, it has, and they lay a pad of aerated concrete over that. And I've even seen roofing systems done that way. Yeah, you can do it. You just got to make sure that you get your engineering right. It's not going to span something or have the type of flexural strength to span over the beams itself. Mom, and nor is concrete.
I love you.
The only way they have these, they have those concrete beams that look like they're actually part of the beam or whatever, is, well, it's hard to explain. But basically they put them in a form, they put a cable through them, and they tension it, and then after it sets up, they let the tension go, and it goes boing, and it's kind of arced. And bridge panels and stuff like that have a great deal of rebar and reinforcement in them, and that's where they get their strength from, because concrete is just too brittle to span stuff.
Can you make that noise again when you were showing how it goes?
No, that was bad. Okay.
I thought it was adorable.
Okay.
Robin says, yes, aircrete. Morris says, what if you put some straw in your mixture? We have done that.
Man, that works great. If you put straw in the mixture, it adds a great deal of strength. We call it our organic block aircrete mix. And we actually sell the on our Etsy store the mix design for it.
Right.
But it works great.
Gurav, I don't know how to say that, says hi. So hi back. Brian Kerwick says, Gregory Green, high-rise buildings use a form of aircrete to make the floor of the buildings. It is totally engineered and a specialty project. Yes.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I said you'd have to get your engineering right.
Right. Tubular Guy 9 says, my driveway has PVA in it, 4 years, and still no crack.
And that's incredible, because how many driveways that just have that little 6-inch by 6-inch, 1/4-inch mesh they stick down don't have any cracks in it after 4 years? I don't know that I haven't ever seen one. That's why all old concrete guys go, there's 2 types of concrete. The stuff that's cracked and the stuff that is going to be cracked pretty soon.
And Morris says, okay, thanks. Awesome. Anything else?
No.
Before we go?
Should I show him one of our blocks with straw in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's that at?
And then we'll go.
We're getting one of our aircrete blocks that we made for a raised flower bed with some straw in it. And here it is.
Yeah, you can see the straw in it, and I actually did 2 different aerated types of mixes in this block as a test, and the bottom part, even though, I mean, it's good and strong, but it's not nearly as small.
It's uniform?
Yeah. No, it's a uniform bubbles. The bubbles are just larger.
Oh.
Yeah. And these bubbles are teeny tiny. See them? So, but yeah, it worked great both ways. I like the smaller closed cell mix that I did, and that's the one that's on my site is the thicker one. And I mean, it sounds hollow. It's so light. Alrighty.
Morris says nice. Alright, well, we are going to go unload a trailer and try and get things cleaned up. Oh, we have one more thing. If aircrete floats, all aircrete homes near the coast could have a base pad poured in the shape of a hole such that the whole house floats in the event of flooding. That is very, very actually possible, depending on a bunch of different things.
I would say it's probably not too practical.
Oh.
Because typically when there's a flood, there's swift flowing water and houses just get crunched.
What about using a chain link fence top rail to make an arc for a dome?
Yeah, that would be fine, especially if you have a arcing machine. And another gentleman just kind of got us one of those too, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Right. All right, so Gregory Green says, if you want to put up a 12-foot freestanding boundary wall, what would you recommend as far as thickness versus height and reinforcement?
Oh, a freestanding one? To be honest with you, because aircrete's so light and the wind load on that big of a wall, I've done a lot of engineering specifications for wind loads, especially for rooftops and corners of buildings, and that the amount of pressure on it for as light as aircrete is, I would not recommend a freestanding one. I would put some posts in the ground. You can cover them totally and make it look freestanding, but if it's 12 feet, I'd just start at like 2 feet wide at the bottom and just taper it up until it was about 6 or 8 inches wide at the top. But I would pour it around some big posts that are stationed every so often.
What sort of weight reduction can you expect from aircrete versus concrete?
Well, my wall panel mix design, which is pretty good, is a good example of something that I built a shop out behind the grandparents' house with. And it's 3.2 cubic feet, and each one weighed about 78 pounds, right there between 75 and 80 pounds, each panel did. And if that were regular 150 pounds per cubic foot concrete, that panel would have weighed 500 and some pounds.
And there's no way I could have helped them move those.
No, we couldn't have lifted them. I lift the panels up, you know, and they're 3.2 cubic feet. And I lift them up by myself and set them in place. So what percentage of 540 is like, say, 80 pounds? You can expect a significant weight reduction, like about an 85% weight reduction.
Cool block. You all have a wonderful weekend. Great show. Thank you, Tubular Guy Night. GSI says, what about aircrete wall panels about a ½ inch thick to assemble indoor reptile enclosures possible? I'd love to work that one out.
I think that's too thin. I mean, you think of a dense product, even like sheetrock, it has to have paper on it, on the outside of it, to strengthen it. If I came up with an adhesive system where I could pour a 1/2 inch thick deal and then, you know, a spray adhesive that ran paper over it and then dried really fast, and you could flip it over and do the same, I think you could do it. And I think if you even did it with a vinyl paper, I can always think of a solution to come up with something where you could do it a 1/2 inch thick.
Oh, he says 1 to 2 inches.
Oh, I thought he said 1/2 inch. Oh,
I
one
probably
one
read
to
it
2
wrong.
inches. Yeah, you could probably do 2-inch wide panels because that's wide enough to stick some type of a reinforcement in it. If you did a fiber mix and then put like a chicken wire reinforcement through it, I think 2-inch wide would work pretty good. I'm coming up with a new system for the panels that I'm gonna experiment with, where every so many inches I want to put an expansion joint, just like they do in any concrete structure. They'll put a weak point so they know when things fluctuate and things go on that it'll crack right there. And so and then I would take an acrylic caulking and put, you know, between the expansion joints, and it would just kind of look like bricks lined up. So
Hey everyone, hit the like button. Brian says hit it. And Jeff says the Home Depot to buy building supplies. Oh, Jeff went to Home Depot. Simon says, when and where is your 2-day Air Creek Dome seminar? We don't have a Air Creek Dome seminar going on yet.
no.
That is planned in the future. And no date or anything of the plans yet. And tie together with pocket holes like plywood. The 2-inch thick
Yeah.
enclosures. He wants to tie it together with pocket holes like plywood.
Yeah, I think if you were so inclined, you could figure out a way to make a mold and do that.
Right. All right, you guys, we are done and headed out. So you guys have a great day. Hit
Thanks,
the like
guys.
button and talk to you guys later.
Love